My name is Darren Kuropatwa, and this is my keynote presentation for the 2010 K12 Online Conference, Kicking It Up a Notch Strand. And in this little talk, about 20 minutes or so, I hope to share some ideas that I've had. Maybe some of these ideas are familiar to some of you, about different ways that teachers might go about kicking it up a notch, kind of bringing things up to the next level. And I've been thinking about this stuff for a long time, and it kind of occurs to me that it has to do well with a lot of intersections. The intersections of a lot of things. If you've been using web-based tools for a while now, you've noticed something about time and space. They bring a ability to us to control time and space in a way that was never possible before. Typically, in the traditional classroom, we were locked into learning in a same physical space at the same physical time. But now we can kind of manipulate space using tools like Google Docs, Illuminate, DimDim, Skype, where we may have to be locked into a certain time for learning, but we don't have to be in the same spaces. There are other examples where we can control time but not space. For example, things like museums, where you go to learn something in the same physical space as other people, but you don't have to be there all at the same time. Geocaching is another example, and if you've played it a lot, then you know that you can learn a lot through geocaching, and web-based courses is another example. Although that's a digital space where you learn a course online, everybody has to be in that particular space to learn, although they don't have to do it at the same time. With the advent of other tools like blogs, wikis, podcasting, and more, we can actually manipulate both time and space and move beyond these things. But the question is that really innovative practice? Is that really kicking it up a notch? Isn't it possible to be an excellent teacher, to do really wonderful teaching and learning in classrooms where we're not using these web-based tools, where we are locked into that traditional space? What does innovative teaching really look like? Innovative teaching looks like lots of different things. But I think it's going to have, in terms of this discussion about space and time, it's not about just manipulating space and time. It's about the silver lining that runs perpendicular to this axis of space and time that we've been talking about. I think that if you really want to kick it up a notch, we've kind of got to go perpendicular to all of this. And what I've kind of noticed is that the kinds of activities that people find really engaging move along a different axis. At the bottom, we have kind of the classic teacher-student interaction, where the teacher directs the learning of the class, and teachers and students work together to figure things out. And in moving up that scale, then in a really dynamic classroom, you're going to get kids working with kids, and that's more engaging. You know, if you walk into a classroom and you see all the kids huddled around something, talking about it, trying to figure something out, well, that just naturally seems to be more engaging than just the teacher talking to the class. Now, when the teacher and the students all together are kind of mixing it up and you've got that full class interaction, well, that's kind of kicking it up a notch to another level. And what really kind of blows the top off things, which is something that was made possible by all these web-based tools, is kind of like when outsiders can have that full class interaction. When you can bring in experts, or other kids from other classes can interact with the kids in your class, or teachers from anywhere around the world, or invite someone in to have a Skype call. Stuff like that. That seems to be the kind of thing that kind of kicks it up a notch. You can have awesome classes in the fixed time and fixed space of the classroom. You can have an awesome learning experience in Illuminate or using Skype, where you may have to be at a certain time in the same place as everyone else, but in different spaces. Museums can be great, and you don't all have to be there at the same time. And podcasts and blogs can be great too, or they can be really flat, and they can be really unengaging. But when you weave in the outside world and this kind of dynamic interaction, moving up the scale from student-teacher to student-student to full class, and finally the world with the class, well, that's really kicking it up a notch.